to improve the environment. I did it over musk thistle and the damages it caused in my home state of Nebraska. One of the reasons I chose this topic was just because growing up on the farm, one of the jobs that I had to do for my grandparents was to go out and spray for musk thistle. And the reason I chose this area to improve on was because of the damages that the chemicals provide to the land, but not that. Being able to go spray the musk thistle, my grandpa always emphasized the fact that I have to be aware, always double check, because if a cattle they ended up eating this thistle of a weed, that has detrimental damages to them. And that was always something I took into consideration, and I never went out without double checking, just because I knew of how important that was to the cattle and our farm. So to begin, I just want to reflect on and provide some insight on what musk thistle is. So according to Colorado Department of Agriculture, musk thistle was introduced to North America from Southern Europe and Western Asia in the early 19th century. Since this time, it has become invasive across North America. It is classified as noxious weed in many states, including Colorado and Nebraska. So to start off, I wanted to first reflect on how Nebraska was before not just how it is without, but how it is as a whole. So we have beautiful pastures, healthy cattle, and stable growing environment. Once you take musk thistle and put it into play, a lot of this can't happen because of the implications with it. So starting off, one of the reasons that musk thistle is so detrimental to our overall farm and just pastures when wanting cattle to go graze is because of the effects it has on cattle. So one of the major effects is it messes with their digestive process. So looking at this, it can be very dangerous, and if eaten, the cattle learn that harmful outcome, and they sometimes want to avoid. And because of avoiding certain areas of the pasture, they end up leaving some of it to just be overran, basically, which does not help the environment. Which, especially with the musk thistle, if the musk thistle is placed in a certain spot for too long, many seeds can drop and just cause a huge widespread. For example, in an article by Sullivan, he explains a single musk thistle plant can produce up to 20,000 seeds, some of which can remain viable in the soil for 7 years. And that is Holback et al. 2003, which is a huge part of the pasteurized farmland produced. And not can it only overpopulate the pasture land, but it also can environmentally damage the land by causing an overrun in that area instead of letting the natural plants to grow for the cattle to take down. So what is my solution to this problem? My solution to combat this problem is to train 12 goats that can overall go through the pasture lands, that need to be guided, of course, need to be trained, but in that way they can overall take down these musk thistle, because they along with not many other animals can eat this type of weed. In an article by Lamming, he explains goats eat all poisonous plants, which does not seem to bother them. They have an interesting array of enzymes in their gut that other animals do not. In the case of poison hemlock, goats have an enzyme in the saliva that detoxifies the toxin before they swallow, Lamming 2001. So that basically just lets us know that not many animals have this. This is a gift that they have in their body, and that's how God created them. But that gives us an advantage to use that and benefit other animals, our environment, our pastures, and keep the land safe. And not only does it keep the land safe, it also builds community within Juanita, Nebraska, where I'm from, in the surrounding farms, towns. For example, beginning this process allows for farmers to come together and decide to move away from chemicals, overall building an opportunity for trust. And with these goats, once they go farm to farm, we're able to connect with other farmers, see how it went, see what needs to be done, and which ways we can benefit all together from this. And overall, it is cheaper. The amount of money spent on chemicals every year by farmers just for pasteurized land, not including cropland, is an insane amount. And from this, we were able to make cheaper costs, especially when farmers come together to combat this problem and overall make it cheaper to the surrounding farms. And I just wanted to add this in here. Goats are cute. I don't know if you think they are or not, but I think they're very cute and something that people would love to enjoy going through their pastures to make sure they are very suitable for their cattle. And yeah, that is basically my campaign to improve the environment. Thank you.